Hello there, I'm Neil. Me and Thomas. It's been a while since we done a reaction to Victor Tanzik. Oh, but that was in the old show. But today, we are watching furnace. So enjoy.
The train, for its time, is the most powerful vehicle on land, and the engines of sodor are the power behind the docks, industries, and branch lines that make up the world-renowned North-Western Railway. These are the stories of sodor. Officer, there must be a mistake. No mistake, Gordon. Earlier today, we apprehended two men we've had under observation for drug trafficking. One of them has already confessed to his part in the crime and admitted he smuggled something on board your train. Are you sure it was my train, not one being hauled by a certain red locomotive from a certain disreputable company, one who has known the hospitality of Railgate Prison? Yes, Gordon. The suspect also admitted to enlisting the assistance of your guard. You mean Homer? Indeed. As you can see, my men have placed him under arrest, and we are currently executing a search of the van in which the narcotics are supposedly stashed. I don't believe it. Well, even if my guard was complicit in this crime, I was not. Unfortunately, Gordon, as an officer of the law, I can't just take your word for it. I still need you to come with me. This is preposterous. I have never once been in trouble with the law. And what? That excuses you from questioning or suspicion? Everyone has the capacity for law breaking. Even you. Don't sneer, Gordon. It will not help your situation. Only cooperation will. If you are innocent, our investigation will bear it out. And you will be released with the heartfelt apology of myself and the Railway Security Directorate. Is that reasonable? Yes, officer. Good. Then let's get started. 24 hours. For 24 straight hours, I was held in custody. And all because my confounded guard couldn't control his wretched gambling habit. I swear, the police questioned me so intensely, I was certain they were going to take a cutter's torch to my buffers. Oh, stop being melodramatic, Gordon. They didn't send me to the railgate, so you can quit whinging about it. I am not whinging, James. I am expressing my irritation over a very unpleasant experience. What do you think whinging means? I'm rather surprised you're excusing the harsh actions of the police, James. Harsh would have been if they had taken a cutter's torch to his buffers, Toby. They questioned him. They talked to him. I don't consider that brutal. And since he was genuinely innocent, I also don't see a problem. Excessive force doesn't always mean inflicting physical pain, James. Well, it'd be irresponsible to curtail the methods of the police. Once that happens, the criminals will take full advantage of it. You can be sure of that. I think it's time we change the subject. Edward, do you have another story to tell about the furness railway? Indeed I do, old chap. How about the one where they mixed up those cattle trucks with your coaches? Oh, that's a gem. Well, it was like this. Actually, Edward, do you mind if I ask a question about your old line? Of course, dear Percy. What is it? Why did it close? Edward? Oh, sorry. It's just... Was it unpleasant? It's always unpleasant losing your home, Percy. You don't have to tell it if you don't want to. Well, I could do it, Edward. No, no, I will. It needs to be said. And this was the story I told. Furness is an area of Cumbria located in northwestern England. And between 1844 and 1907, it was serviced by the Furness Railway. Most of the engines who ran on it were non-faceless, with the exception of myself, Winston, and a shunter named Albert. At its height, the FR owned or worked on over 190 miles of track. This kept us plenty busy. Albert, Winston, and I mostly worked around the city of Dalton, which was relatively close to Barrow. As a passenger engine, I frequently made trips to this station, which was but a stone's throw away from Sodor. In fact, something I haven't mentioned before is that I knew Neil, Clive, and Matthew since before coming to the island, as did Winston, who often ran goods trains to and from Barrow. Albert mostly acted as the station pilot for Dalton, but he also worked on the small branch line of Scarborough that ran west of the yard. On this branch was the Parker Brothers coal mine, which provided cheap coal for the FR, making it an invaluable business partner. It was on March 13, 1907, when Albert returned to the yard with a delivery of coal. There, he found Winston and myself discussing a recent event in Russia. So they've gone ahead and convened a second Duma, have they? And I hear it's off to a roaring start, with 40,000 demonstrators having to be dispersed by the army. Honestly, what do those people expect? It only just started. Did they think it would introduce sweeping reforms that very day? Perhaps they wanted to show the Tsar that they want to keep this one. I highly doubt Nicholas II will be intimidated by a mass of unwashed workers. If he wasn't intimidated, he wouldn't have set up a Duma in the first place, would he? Touche, Winston. What are you two talking about? Oh, hello, Albert. We're just discussing the situation in Russia. A new Duma's been established. Isn't that the thing people put over their beds? That's a duvet. Oh, then what's a Duma? It's the Russian equivalent of Parliament, of People's Parliament, which is something they didn't have before. And this is the second one? What happened to the first? The Tsar abolished it because he didn't like its suggestions. They demanded too much, Winston. The release of political prisoners, the empowerment of trade unions, and land reforms. That's too much, Edward. In the time frame they demanded, yes. True, lasting change is a gradual process that cannot be rushed. Well, the Tsar better get a move on this one, or mark my words, he'll lose his crown. I don't think that's likely. Not while he's got the support of the army behind him. For now, you mean? You might want to table this discussion for now, lads. Here comes the guard. Good morning, engines. Good morning, Mr. Pettigrew. I have a very important announcement to make. As you know, we have long enjoyed a fruitful partnership with the neighbouring Midland and Sodor and Mainland Railways. Recently, I have been in touch with the executives of these companies about the possibility of a merger, unifying all three into a single railway. What a good idea, sir. That'd do wonders for our passengers and clients. My thoughts exactly. Not to mention, having three companies working in unison would dramatically bolster our revenue. Well, I'm guessing it's not a done deal yet, sir. You guessed correct, Winston. I've merely put to them the offer. But they must be interested, or they wouldn't have agreed to preliminary discussions. When are those going to happen, sir? Next Thursday. Representatives from both companies will arrive here. Number 24 will deliver the Midland executives, and Edward, you'll bring in the directors from Sodor. Yes, sir. This all sounds very promising, sir. I agree. I'm very optimistic about our future. Any problems, Edward? No, sir. Neil arrived on time, and we departed likewise. And you made sure to give them a nice, smooth ride? Of course, sir. I always do. Excellent. Where can I find them? Coach number 3. Right. Then I'd best get to work. Good luck, sir. Of course, I didn't think he really needed luck. After navigating through the throng of passengers departing from my train, Mr. Pettigrew met up with the Sodor and Mainland executives, who complimented him and myself on a very smooth ride. He then took the pair to meet the Midland representatives, who had arrived earlier that day. After pleasantries were exchanged and a delightful morning tea was enjoyed, Mr. Pettigrew began showing the envoy around the yard. He dazzled them with a lot of facts and figures, many of which I'm sure they'd heard before. But he also demonstrated the efficiency of the FR's engines and tantalized them with the prospect of sharing in our locally mined coal. This was surely a major point in favor of merging, as every rail company back then wanted their own cheap source of fuel. Things were going extremely well for our director, and it looked as if the visitors were primed to agree to the merger right then and there. That was when it happened. What was that? I'm not sure. Excuse me, gentlemen. Oh no. You daft gits can't handle a simple job. Don't blame us. We warned you. What in blazes is going on? Mr. Pettigrew, these stupid twits tried to move a crate that was too heavy and lost control of it. I told them to get a trolley, but don't lie. You told us to carry it by hand. Put your backs into it, you lazy prats, you said. You little... All right, shut it. Who's to blame isn't important right now. This man needs a hospital immediately. I'm pleased to say the injured workman would make a full recovery, but I'm sorry to say that the fallout from this incident was very severe. An investigation was carried out and many workers were questioned, and practically all of them blamed the incident on harsh working conditions. This, of course, meant the unions got involved. A strike was quickly arranged, and the FR's manpower was halved overnight. Despite his best efforts, Mr. Pettigrew struggled to reach an agreement with the unions, and unfortunately, any agreement he hoped to make with the visiting executives went up in smoke. I now realize how fitting that metaphor was, because even if the executives had stuck around, there was no chance they would have agreed to a merger given what would happen next. Bust my boppers! Albert, what have you done to the yard? Me? Why do you assume this is my fault? Because you're the shunter. You're supposed to keep things in order. How in fizzling fireboxes did you manage to put one of my coaches in between two trucks? I didn't do that. Well, You did give me the wrong plans for delivery to Barrow. I took them all the way there, only to bring them all the way back. Hey, those were the vans the yardmaster told me to shunt. The acting yardmaster, you mean? Exactly. In case you haven't noticed, we don't have the usual staff. So things are going to get stuffed about a bit. You call this a bit? I call it as not being my fault the lads have gone on strike. Phew. You still think trade unions are a good idea, Winston? What are you jumping on me for, Edward? I'm on your side. Oh, so we're taking sides, are we? Fine. I'll shunt this lot. See? I'm doing it. You happy, Edward? I'll get this yard sorted. Just you wait. Oh, that'll be the day. Albert, what are you doing? What do you mean? I'm bringing these trucks so they can be loaded. I said take them to track 2. No, you said track 1. I said track 2. Now get them over there. Ah. Should we straighten up that top crate? Probably. But we'll need 2 others to help move it. And we're running behind as it is. What if the foreman finds out? He'll probably say good job for not wasting time. Come on. It'll be all right. Bust my buffers. Ah, this would be how this day ends. What was that? The legs on that crate must have been damaged. Look, it's cracking. And if it falls back onto that fuel tank, leg it! I sometimes wonder if the lucky lamp had ever been on the Furness Railway, because it could only be luck that the fire caused by the exploding fuel tank was contained and extinguished by a sudden downpour. Albert and the workmen were able to get clear, so thankfully no one was hurt. However, the damage was done. A swift and savage investigation by the railway board followed. In their judgment, negligence was the cause of the accident, and we were slapped with a substantial fine that crippled our finances. Despite our best efforts to carry on, by October of that year, the Furness Railway had to close. Albert felt incredibly guilty and blamed himself for the closure. Winston and I disagreed. We blamed ourselves for pushing him so hard. Mr. Pettigrew, however, blamed no one. That man was never capable of spite, as evident by the fact he had already found homes for the 3 of us. Albert went to work for the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, which later became part of the Southern Railway. Winston was sold to the Great Eastern Railway, which would be absorbed into the LNER, and I would find myself on Sodor. The rest, as they say, is history. What happened to Mr. Pettigrew? He retired and lived to the ripe old age of 93, enjoying those final years with his grandchildren. Well, thank you for sharing, Edward. Indeed. Smashing job. Really well done. But what's this lucky lamp you mentioned? That's an interesting subject, Winston. But it's also a story for another day. I do hate it when you say that, Edward. Why do you think I say it so often? Wait, what?